lot of information to bring through today. Okay, Yarna, whenever you are ready, so are we.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Just feel free to do whatever you need to do to relax. I like to close my eyes to take a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, letting go of everything that we don't need right now. Just being present, breathing deep in through the nose, out, exhaling through the mouth. And just one more time in your own speed, all the way in and all the way out. We come here together, not just in the Zoom here on planet Earth, to come together, to unite, to support each other on this journey. Listening to each other, paying attention to ourselves and others, tapping into our heart and creating a beautiful balance between the mind and the heart. The information that we receive is best received in the heart. As the brain relaxes in the moments when we listen to our hearts and to the truth that lies within there for all of us as individuals and as collective, following our truth is more important than ever. Listening to ourselves and doing the things that are aligned with who we are as individual and species. Humanity comes to a place now, a place of deep transformation, a place of acknowledgement of who we are, sensing the oneness of the heart, connecting to our third eye, having the awareness in the center of our forehead, between our eyebrows, where we may feel sensation, comes with a sense of clarity that we use to sense what we feel in this present moment. Setting an intention for us, maybe for the rest of the week, maybe for the next lunar cycle, maybe even beyond, whatever you would like to have, what you would love to bring into existence for your life. Use this energy right now to manifest this, to set an intention and feel what that might be. Whatever you want to call forth into your life. Feel the sensation in your body. Let it resonate through every single cell in your being, knowing that it's yours, knowing that it always has been yours, and knowing that you deserve it, knowing that you deserve everything you ever wanted, everything you ever needed on a soul level. You deserve to be free. You deserve to experience love in each and every moment of your life. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be rich. You deserve to do all that you long for. We as collective come together and we believe that we are all special. That we all came here, each of us with a gift to share with the world. To share it in a way that resonates deeply with who we are as individuals and collective. Bringing more balanced harmony and oneness. Let's start listening to Wilhelm. I thank you all for taking time in this meditation. We are meant to do great things, and I say we, because it's time to come together.
Awesome. And we are ready to begin. We could not have asked for a better opening than that. And thank you so much, Yarna. You will understand why we've brought him in. You will understand why we've brought all of you in. Today we gave you a message that we said, today you will understand. And then the other day we gave you another message where we said we will answer all of your questions. And that is exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to explain why we've been bringing through this information, why your world looks the way that it does right now. It does looks that way because you wanted to be here to uplift everything. And we couldn't have planned a better day than to do it on an eclipse. So that is in Scorpio, which is what our messenger is all about, is Scorpio. It's about regeneration. It's about renewal. It's about coming into the new. But what you have to do first is let go of the old. And that's what each of you are doing in your own way. Now, we gave you a message in 2012. We want to explain this. Many of you do not understand that you exist in your consciousness. Consciousness is not limited by time, meaning you operate normally on linear time where you think things have to move in this sequential way. That is not what happens. You are existing in the now. You can accomplish anything that you want in your life when you keep continually bringing yourself back to this moment of now. But we have something on the screen where we gave you in 2012. We've given you many things, and we actually took Roger through so much last night. We do this all the time before we do one of these sessions, and he gets a little overwhelmed, and then he makes Stan a little overwhelmed too, because at the last minute he say, oh, we need to bring this in. We did that because we want you to understand that you are here at such an important time of your life. You are here to make such an enormous contribution to your world. And when you do that, everything that you're seeing now will change. Everything will be different in your life and in your world because they are the same. You, no matter what your age is, we want to get that out of the way. It doesn't matter what age you are or what you have done. Your importance at this time is essential for your planet. Your planet is moving through an ascension, and we have called it a restructuring. And what that means is that you are meant to bring something that is within you that has always been there. However, you've had different life experiences. You've had different journeys. You've had different things that you've done that you've judged that you didn't understand. This is why we want you to understand your history. Understanding your history now is the most vital thing you can do. You never did anything wrong. You never failed at anything. None of that ever happened. You're just figuring out who you were meant to become. And you were doing it at the right time because the world, your planet, needed your energy to come through now to love yourself and to prosper. That is the thing that we have been attempting to bring to all of you. And then when you understand what that means, you will see shifts happening in your world as they are happening within you. Now, we understand that the energies of, especially in the last several years, but even in the last week or so, many of you have felt uneasy or nervous or uncomfortable. Yes, you were meant to, because it was meant to shake you up so that you would start to own yourselves, so that you would start to understand who you are. Each of you were given a divine plan. There's not a single person who is exempt from that. You all have it. You are connected to God or Allah or all that is, whatever term that you use. It has to be something that gives you this feeling, this energetic feeling of your worthiness, of your deservedness, because you all are that. You just take different paths. But you came together now at this most opportune time on your planet so that you could ascend to the next level of who you're meant to become, and then your world will do the same thing. That is what's happening. And you're going to see all the things that we've talked about, the division, the anger, the blame, all of those things are going on because you wanted to transcend them. We gave you something some time ago where we said your ancestors are watching with curiosity. We gave you that 3 years ago because we wanted you to understand that the changes that you are seeing in your world are generational, meaning that you each have things within you that you wanted to move beyond, that your relatives, your ancestors, all of those in your lineage could not have done before. And you each take on particular roles. And the role that you have chosen is really vital, and it's necessary, and it's essential, and it's supposed to come through now. And we're saying this because you're at a powerful eclipse. You're not going to even have this. This is the most powerful time in your decade that will come about in your world and in your life. And if you take advantage of the energy of this, you can transform your life. And this is the work that we've given you. Everything that we have given you is about transforming your life. And we gave you the perfect example to show you that it works because he's sitting in front of you. Except he, like you, doesn't always trust that. He, like you, has held back and not done the things that he could have to make his life better and then also your world. We're saying that because each of you have done that, and we know it because otherwise the world would look quite different right now. And this is not, again, to cause you to judge yourself. It's just to cause you to awaken, cause you to take the next step. You live in different dimensions. You experience different dimensions of your life, and it's always in your consciousness. And it means you're thinking, the way that you're thinking and the energy that you're putting into or using with your thinking, that goes into the ethers, into the world. And then collectively you create a world. So if you're putting in energy about yourself that's judgmental, you think you did everything wrong, all of that, you're putting in lower vibrational energy, your life never changes, and the world doesn't either. That is what occurs. You're all connected. You spend civilizations coming to understand that you are attempting to own your essence and your original source, let's say, your connection to all that is, because you all have that. You just take different incarnations and you decide to take different roles. The role that Roger took this time, we haven't mentioned that. He was upset with us last night. He argues with us all the time. He said, would you please start calling me your messenger? You see, we're saying that because he didn't like when he would listen to some of the recordings later, which he doesn't always do. But when he listened to the recording, he would hear how many times we would say, Roger, Roger, Roger. And that would just call out to him what he hasn't done yet. We're saying that because you've each have done that. You see, you've each held back a little bit. You just didn't understand. Now, what we're talking about is not anything that you have to go out and do that's monumental or large, all of that. No, it's just that you have to do what's in front of you. You have to believe in it, and you have to love yourself. And that means moving through all of the old stuff. This is why our work takes you through an examination of who you have been, because you have long histories, even though you don't understand that always because you're eternal beings. But in this lifetime, you've had a history. And that history has been coalesced to a place now where you're meant to access more so that you could uplift your life and thrive, and so that your world would do the same thing. Yes, it won't happen tomorrow, but it will happen if you begin now, which we've said often. We've put up some other things too that we really want you to pay attention to, because we want you to understand that you've always been guided. You've always been guided. When we talk to you, all we do is reawaken your own internal knowing. That's all. And because it takes time for you to believe in yourself. So we gave you one in 2020, actually, because we wanted you to understand that this has always been what our mission was. That was another eclipse too. We just wanted you to understand, because it's powerful energy that comes through at that time. You're all connected to this energy and your stars and your planets and all of that and your galaxies. You may not look at astrology and all that. Roger doesn't really understand at all, but he does know that he is, because of all the Scorpio that he has, and this is what the energies around your planet now are that, and he is about discovery. His entire life has been, how can I figure this out? And he did that, and he put it in a work because he wrote it down every single day. When he went through all of the tragedies in his life and experienced everything that any of you might have done, He wrote it all down. How do you get out of this? How do you figure it out? And it's all in changing your thinking. That's all that happens, but he just did it in different ways. There are many on your planet who are doing work similar to his, just in different ways. And what we wanted to do was to give you something that would work, something that would cause you to shift permanently, because that's what happens. It's always in your consciousness. And so we said, if you just do this every single day, you will heal everything. And look at the person who's done it, who's walked through he's almost died several times. He's been through the most imaginable physical pain that many of you fear. He's understood that, but then he developed the techniques where you could change your minds and heal yourself, and you can understand your mind-body connection. And so, but then he still had the doubt. And this is why we said on that date, what if you were right? See, because this is the question that you're each asking yourself. What if I was right about that thing that I thought I was supposed to do when I was a child? What if I were right about that new invention that I thought I was going to create? Or what if I were right about that new position that I thought I'm supposed to have? You are. You wouldn't have been given that unless it was something you were meant to manifest. However, you have to use your consciousness. This is why you understand now with your neuroscience that you have to use your consciousness to change things so that you can accept the next level of who you are meant to become, and then allow that to integrate into your being, and then it becomes the new you. And you are creating the new you so that you can create the new world. That is what you're all doing now. You are ushering in a new world. And we've given you a philosophy. And that philosophy was called your life operating instructions. See, when you move through times in your civilizations, everything changes. Your planet shifts. And then there are certain beings who, because of what they've lived, because of what they agreed to before they came in, and that was Roger, he agreed to move through every human difficulty, challenge, and problem so that he could bring in this philosophy. And we'll tell you what the philosophy says. It says that each of you are born worthy and needed to be in the world at exactly the time that you are in the world, and all you do is figure that out. And we just gave you a plan to figure it out, to uncover the genius that's within you, uncover the value that you came to bring. And the only thing that happens is that you will make an interpretation that really holds you back. You will make an interpretation that says, it's not me. I don't have enough. I'm too little. None of that is true. You were born a worthy being. You just have to take the time to work through the old things because you have an evolutionary path you were meant to follow, but you accepted that. You accepted all the experiences or circumstances that have shown up in your life so that you could transcend them, so that you could reach that next higher level of beingness within you. And the other thing that we want you to understand, because this is what your society is doing right now, and we've said it often, there's no hierarchy of souls. None of you are any less than any other person. We don't care if it is a world leader. You have as much ability as any of those. You may not want to do that. It may not be a part of your evolutionary path because you were given something, you were given a divine plan, but you do have to move into yours. And it's a constant struggle for most of you. And this is why we say, take it step by step. And if you keep doing that, then you start to understand. Please get this concept. If you think of your schooling, for instance, when you were in school, you know that you were doing things from grade to grade because you accessed information and knowledge and wisdom that you could then utilize, and then it became the new you, even as you were changing your physical body and growing, so you could see it a little bit more there. But the same thing happens in your consciousness, you see, and then you put that together, the collective consciousness, and then you create a world. Now, the reason that your world looks the way that it does now is because it's been off balance. That's what we've said. The balance has been male energies have dominated for eons, and that's just gone on. And so you're attempting now to shift this into a more balanced union for all of you, meaning bringing in more of the female energies and honoring females more and honoring all people. That's what you're meant to do. And you exist at this time to bring in that change. And the reason that you're seeing the conflict and the wars and all of that is because there will be those who are carrying in threads, we like to call them, from old energies that they don't want to release. You can't be those people if you want to make a difference. You have to accept something new. And you're meant to be innovative as well. You're meant to bring in or something that's new. You're meant to put your stamp on whatever everything that's come before. The way that we created our work, and Roger was privy to this, we took him through it, is that we use all the great minds that have come before. We've said this often. When we gave you our work in 2012, the first message that we gave you was infinite intelligence, meaning you all have it. You all have infinite intelligence, but it will be pertinent to your individual path. You won't access all of the people, the lineage necessarily that Roger would, because it's part of his DNA. You have yours. But what we do is awaken yours. And we can do that because we come from a universal consciousness that works for all of you. This is why we've said that we've created something, and we've had them change the name of the program to your last development program, because we know you wouldn't need anything else if you were willing to do the work. But that's the thing that most of you are not willing to do, is the work. That means looking at yourself and being honest and being vulnerable enough and to look at, what haven't I done? How have I doubted myself? How have I... Those are the things you have to change, and you change it step by step. And so all we did was give you a plan to be able to do that. And you were wondering, many wondered, why does this work? Because it's been proven. You're looking at the person who lived it all. The things that you each worry about, he has moved through. And he moved through it with our help. He didn't do that before. None of you do everything at once. Your world doesn't even do that. But it gets a place that look at crescendo, so to speak, which is happening now. This is why we're doing this. This is a very powerful day. And this is why we had to do it now, because we wanted you to understand. If you take advantage of this energy and start to utilize it in your life, you see a very different life that you're going to experience, but also a different world. When you understand, and we've used quantum physics, but then we went on to quantum mechanics, because we want you to understand energy a bit more, because everything is created energetically, your life and your world, and there's no separation. And the more that you start to understand there is no separation, that's when you get back to source, that when you get back to your original connection and to love yourself, because that's the highest energy that you could bring in, is love. And that's the thing that most of you have the most difficulty with, is understanding, because you're judging yourself all the time. We've seen it, we felt it, and you must stop that. Even when you've held back, you go into judgment, and then that defeats the purpose, because now you're not motivated to do the next thing. So we understand that many of you have done that, and then you go into fear. We had our messenger write a book on fear in 2019 because we knew where you would be. And you will see that we gave you a message that goes back to 2019. We've given you many of them just to show you that it's always been a path. And you all have it. And your path is so valuable. Your life is so valuable, which is why we wanted you to understand that your history was needed to be understood at this time. Yes, you're not going to change everything right away, but you could begin. And this is a great starting point. When you move through a portal like this of the full moon and the eclipse, actually, and it's so powerful, and there are other things. You have also your Mercury in retrograde. Now, many of you have been feeling things that you didn't understand because you're bringing up the old. You were supposed to, but you have to reinterpret it. You can't, and you'll have these periods of Mercury retrograde. We want to speak on that for just a second. And they are given to you throughout your year several times so that you would go inside and examine who you want to become, and look at what you haven't done, what you did before, all of that. Just let it go. You're supposed to move that through, but sometimes it's challenging, and many of you don't like to examine who you are. And that is the probably, we won't say worse, we don't like using words of that nature, but it is the least productive thing that you could do, is to not really become willing to examine who you are and love who you are. But it is a process. Now, the reason we're saying this particular Mercury in retrograde for some of you might have been a little more challenging is because this is also a generational shift, as we've said, meaning that you're dealing with energies and from eons, your ancestors that go back far beyond what you might even know. Now, we've also said that Roger has his memory, so that's why he could bring in this work and live the life that he did. But that's not necessarily for all of you, but because you each have your individual roles. He had to move through his ego attachments, which many of you will still have to do, because those are the things that hold you back. And so when he would let go of that, anything material, physical, he relinquished just so he could get to this place. But now he has to shift that as well. because it's a time for you all to prosper. He's gotten the information that he needed, and so now he can give it to others, and that's what you're meant to do. You're meant to take your life and extract all the brilliance that you've accomplished and then create something from it so that you can prosper. And this is the work that we're giving to everyone, because our intention in your world was to cause it to become better by having more of you really love yourselves and to prosper. You must understand, we keep saying to prosper because if you don't understand that, you're not going to change. The changes that are happening in your world, none of this matters because it's all energy, but you use certain things in physical form to keep control, and money is one of them. And we said the United States would lead the way, and you're seeing so much of that. You didn't understand it when we first told you, but now you're seeing it. And just this week, there were 2 mass shootings in Serbia. They'd never had that before, but they could look at the United States and see what they were doing. And you never understood that because in 2012, you had the biggest wake-up call when you had Sandy Hook and all the kids were shot. We thought, well, maybe they'll wake up then. No, you didn't change. And the thing is still happening now because you've lost your connection to yourself. You've lost your connection to humanity because you've lost your connection to who you are, you see. And so the more of you come back to that original awareness of your importance and why you're in the world, you pass that on to others. That's how the world evolves. You just happen to exist at a pivotal time in your world because this has never occurred. We've said this often. The things that you do repeat, you can see some of those when we started speaking about incidents that were happening that occurred 100 years ago. You can see the cycles that go on, but this cycle you could not have seen because it has never happened. This is a big one because you're attempting to create a huge world. We're saying this because you'll see more conflict, disruption, and all of that, and you may judge it. And we want you to understand that it's purposeful because when you witness that, it will awaken something within you because you don't like what you're seeing. And when you don't like what you're seeing, then you have to bring in a new energy, and that's within you, meaning loving you. The thing that's really challenging for most of you is to accept that your existence makes a difference. And we're telling you it does. It's an energetic difference. And when you get that a little bit more, you will start to see the different flow that comes into your life. Now, we're going back to the other thing because we use Roger as an example all the time, and which he's always uncomfortable with. But several years ago, we told him that the work that you'll see it all on the screen in the messages, and we'll have the messages actually attached to the video or something so that those of you who are watching later, we really want you to understand and see all of it, because you will understand your history. We took him back to It's a Wonderful Life, you see, because that was a film that most of you don't understand the importance of it. You used it all the time in your society, well, mainly in the United States a lot more, but it was everywhere. But when you use that film, you look at the stories that are there and it hits your heart because you think, oh, what would have happened if George had died? See, that's what you're each supposed to think about in yourself. The world would not be the same without you. It wouldn't. You were brought into the world to evolve and expand and offer your essence. There were never any insignificant people born, but you just take time and in your trajectory to figure out your importance. That's all. And your world is doing the same thing. And as we said, we told you many years ago that you would see many changes around women. And again, it's about the feminine energy because that's been off balance for as long as you've had humankind. And so that's what you're trying to come about. But you're going to see the men still, or the masculine energy, attempt to hold that back, but that's not going to stay. It's going to change. But this change is always the disruption that you experience and you get a little afraid. We don't want you to be afraid. We want you to love. We want you to love who you are, and then that change will be much easier. No, all of them are going to happen. And it may take some time. We know that the women are experiencing some oppression at this point, but every race has, every gender has, all of you throughout history. You just choose different times to incarnate in different roles that you are accepting now. One thing that we do want to say, because you're going to see this come up quite soon, where your political divisions will be on full display. And it may look a little frightening, but that's purposeful as well, because then it'll cause you to love who you are. And we told you can't hate the others because you've probably been them. You're supposed to love who you are. And on one of the messages, you'll see we gave you we referred back when we were talking about It's a Wonderful Life, we referred back to Christmas, because that's just a holiday that humans will set aside where you temporarily remember who you are, or you attempt to anyway. And that's why we wanted you to see that. You have every bit of genius within you, just as Joshua did. That's what we want. Just as Jesus, just as all the other great masters, you all have it. You just decide how much you're going to allow to come into your being. And again, it is never about your position in life. It's never about what you have done. It's only about your consciousness. It's only about how much you're willing to accept and move through your life journey. And we've given you something many, many years, over decades. We said the integrity of your physical life experience. We wanted you to understand you are in physical form for a while. And you come into physical form to perform certain tasks. And that's supposed to be moving through all the old stuff so that you come to joy and love and abundance. That's what you're doing. And the more of you who do that, you start to see a very different world. And we talked about the weather conditions that are going on. And many of you have different ideas about that. Are you controlling it? Yeah, you control everything as humans, but you just don't always want to take responsibility for that. Because if you can blame someone else, then you don't have to change. But understand the change only change you have to make is in your consciousness. And that only change, and the most important one, is loving who you are and doing what you came into the world to do. Now, saying that is that many of you have put things away that you were doing at younger times in your life and you didn't understand, you didn't think maybe it would work or it was important. Yeah, go back to that because you were given that. Everything that has occurred in your life was something you were given for a reason. Now, if it doesn't feel good to you, then put it away. But if it's something that you love, that you wanted to do, then please go back to it because it's going to shift your energy internally and then you'll accomplish more. And that's the guidance that we wanted to have you. And the reason we said we will explain everything today, because none of you understood why Roger was so passionate about and why he was doing this. It's because it's a part of his nature. He can see what's happening in your world. He can see what's happening to each one of you. And he knows that if he doesn't get out of his way, then the world that you all want to see is not guaranteed. That's each of you. You have that much responsibility to own who you are, to love who you are, to prosper. And he got kicked in the butt the other day. We're saying this purposely because we had him listen to a recording that we did 2 years ago where we told him, please change the rate of your approach. Please start telling people what your work is. Please start talking. And just the resistance, because you've each had this. And then he had one person who said, oh, well, I didn't like the course and I want my money back. And he said, wait a minute, I gave you something that should have been 3 times as much money. But the other thing that he didn't do, that Roger didn't do, was completely qualify this person. See, because you cannot do our work unless you want to succeed. You cannot do our work unless you want to become happy and prosperous and move into the next level of your life. And if you stop, you don't get there. And that's what happens. That's what's happened in your lives, you see, that you stop at a certain place. Your world has done the same thing. We're tying these together. We want you to make the correlation. Roger was asking a group yesterday, well, what happened back in the 60s when you were moving through that period? Well, okay, it looks a little bit different now. It's not the same as then. We want you to understand that when you look back at your history, you can see that things have progressed, but never to the degree that you wanted. And especially now, because you're experiencing many things in your world that you thought this would never happen again. This should not be happening. And that's just why you're here. You're here to change that, in the way that you change is by deciding to consciously love who you are, move through your restrictions, your doubts and your fears, and then prosper. Those things all come together because they are a part of the authentic you. This is why we keep talking about your authentic self. None of you, the thing that you do is you move through your lives thinking you're supposed to be someone else. No, you're supposed to be you. It was given to you. It may take time for you to uncover and own that and believe it, but that's okay. That is the journey that you chose. We will explain it this way. You've had several incarnations. Let's just do this. We're just going to go all in here. So you're an eternal being. You've always existed. You come into the world at a particular time and you say, oh, I'm going to take these particular issues now. I'm going to take this family. I'm going to put myself in their existence because I know they will offer me everything that I need so that I can expand. Sometimes they're going to put me down. Sometimes they're not even going to believe in me. Sometimes they're not going to even want me, or maybe I feel that way. Well, that's great because now I can want myself. Whatever situation you were placed in, it gave you the value that you wanted to have, and it's something that you accepted, that you agreed to before you came into this world. And everyone has that. Now, we will say this: no one is going to believe you all the time. No one. You have to believe yourself. And then we're speaking of this because we know that the people who would be listening to this would be more receptive to what we're saying, but there are others who would have no clue as to what we're saying and would say that it's just totally craziness. Even when they're seeing the results of it in the being that brought this work through, that you have to understand your resistance to certain things, because you don't move through or get to the next level of who you're meant to be unless you're willing to move through that resistance. And then you come to this love. What you're attempting to do now is create this wonderful plan. And now much of it has been done. You haven't seen it yet because you don't manifest. You could manifest things instantly, but typically in your human behavior, you don't do that. And so you will plant something and then it starts to come about. Then it starts to sprout. When we first started giving this work to Roger, he had all this resistance. He said, no, this couldn't have possibly happened. And we're pointing that out because many of you have done that. You will see things that start to show up and you think, how did this turn out that well? Why couldn't I see this before? Yeah, you have things within you. And so again, we want you to understand the way that we have given you these messages. And every time we did a channeling session on an eclipse, it was for the reason of utilizing the available energy. That's exactly what we are doing today because it is really powerful. And if you up-level your love of yourself today and now moving forward, you will mitigate what might be coming up in your world again, because there will be more. We're just telling you that's just where things are now. And this is why Roger's been pushed a little bit more to get out of his own way to really start doing the things. But he has help now. None of you are meant to do anything alone. We gave you a message about that as well. You need help. You always need help. That's why you have elders. That's why you have people who come in. That's why you go to coaches or mentors, or you take courses, whatever it is. You all need that. Roger has used that in his entire life, but then he took it and he put it into something that is new, that's never been done before and never been done in this way. And then he had to bring in other people, which we're so thrilled about, because he's brought in Yarna and Stan. And then we brought in some other folks, these young German guys who are now going to help getting everything out. And then we brought in Karen because we needed more of her energy to infuse this more of that feminine energy so the more of you can accept and come together in unity. This is a time of collaboration. You've heard about the age of Aquarius. You thought it was happening a long time ago. At least that was in Roger's experience. However, it is happening now. And the age of Aquarius means that you come together in unity, that you come together in collaboration so that you can create something that is magnificent. And we have big goals for what we're going to do because we want to get more of this work to more people, because we know that if more of you become happy, prosperous, you will make the difference in the world. Saying we've talked about this often, and you have to look at it. You will have those who are billionaires, who have all the wealth in every country. You'll see it everywhere. And then you have those who are starving to death. How are you allowing that to happen? You're allowing that to happen when you don't love who you are. You allow that to happen when you don't take the mantle and do the thing that you know you're meant to do. And we're kind of bringing this up in this way because we felt the energy of those who have kind of just held back a little bit, been a little bit fearful of what they're going to do. That's okay, but you could don't judge yourself. Just decide that you're going to take the impotence from this time and start to move forward, because that's what your world needs right now. There are many other things occurring that you have not seen, because there are great things that are being developed now. Many people, whenever you go through these changes in your civilization, there are those who will create something new, just in different ways. The work that we've given Roger is new. It's a new philosophy, and that philosophy is about moving through those restrictions, and we want you to understand you all have them. You're born that way, and you have to become willing to look at them so that you can eradicate them from your emotional and physical and ethereal body. When you move that, then you start to ascend, and that's what you're all doing, and your planet is doing that as well, which is why you are here. So what we would love to do now is, because we really want to answer some questions, which we said we would do, and we want to give you a lot more information, and so we will allow Stan to give you the ability to do that.
Okay. Yes. So please use the Q&A button on your Zoom in order to type in your question. We'd love to answer your questions. Wilhelm would love to answer your questions. And as we wait for those questions to come in, can Wilhelm speak more on what it means to own ourselves more and how that's going to bring about more abundance?
Yes. Thank you so much for that. All you have to do, and it's so simple, but none of you are paying attention to it. Stop judging. Stop judging yourself. Self-judgment is the most challenging thing you do. However, this is why you use mindfulness, because there is a technique, and we give you so many of them, because you will have the self-judgment because you are moving into a new area of your life, that unknown. Many of you have different varying degrees of how much you fear the unknown. This is why collectively your world has been in such fear, because you are in that place of unknown right now. However, when you understand that you are moving into that next level of your being, you will notice that you will have some self-judgment. You will say, oh, I can't do that. It's not me. I'm not the person, all that. That's a lower vibrational energy, and that you need to transform. Now, when you use mindfulness, you will become aware of when you're having that thought, then you can instantly start to shift it. This is back to your neuroscience again, because when you make that shift, you have implemented something new. You're in a different consciousness now, and that will come through. So that's why your importance in understanding this and who you are is just that process of letting go of your self-judgment.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Once again, we're here to answer your questions. Click on the Q&A button, submit your question. I will ask it on your behalf. And this one just coming in. Wilhelm mentioned balancing feminine with masculine energy. Is owning who I am stating this bluntly in my work, or the element of them as a bridge?
Whatever your work you're doing, you're supposed to bring the bridge together. We're not sure if that's what you meant, but whatever. Well, no, we are sure, because you're obviously doing something where you're questioning that. And yes, when you form your work, whatever that might be, in a way that the individual can access those qualities, the masculine and the feminine that exist within them, they create unity. They create it within themselves. They will have it in different levels. Everyone does, and you've carried this out throughout humankind. But now you're moving into a place where that needs to be much more balanced, because that's why your world is off balance. You kept the feminine energy out, and you've done it through women. We're saying this because we want you to understand that you all innately have the energies when you're born. You just go in different directions at times, and for eons, we should say, it's gone in one direction, and this is why the shift needs to happen. So yes, in your work, please allow whatever way that fits in your clients to embrace both aspects, and you will find that they will have imbalances in there in some way. Thank you.
Okay.
And if we need a follow-up to that, please put that in if you need more clarification. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yes, if you have a follow-up to that question, to that response, please resubmit that in chat. And they are responding, and so I will await that response. In the meantime, moving on to the next question. What is Wilhelm's plan that you can use to transform and ascend, or do you design your own plan to transcend because you are an individual?
Oh, thank you so much for that. What we do, our plan is to get you to own your plan. We love that, because you will, when you move through this, and many have already done it, when you move through this, you become aware of your plan and what you came to bring to the world, what is unique to you. Yes, we never tell you what to do. All we're doing is asking you the questions. We're stimulating your consciousness. We're still stimulating your memory. See, because it's been within you. It's all with all of you. It's always been there. You just move through times in your life where you forget. That's purposeful as well. You need to forget, because you couldn't expand or evolve unless you remembered who you were supposed to be. So, oh, wow. We love that so much. Thank you for that one.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Next question. What if we have so many things we love? How do we choose one to pursue?
Great. You have them all. You're so blessed. We love that. And so there's several different things going on there. First of all, choose the one that you love. Sometimes you will have all of these different things, and many of them might be serving as distractions, you see, because if you love, you'll have different interests. You're multi-dimensional beings. You have all kinds of talents. And so if you, but sometimes that can be overwhelming. So what you might do, this happens a lot, that you'll let all of them come in at once, and then you do none of them. You see, because that becomes a subtle form of self-sabotage and of holding yourself back when you do that. However, that may not be the case. If that's not the case for you, then just take the one that you love the most and work on that one, and then segment your time to devote to the things that you want to do. You can do all of them if you organize yourself. This is why we always talk about giving you a plan. We have you make your plan so that you can use your days in ways that serve you, because many of you think that you don't have time. That's never true. You're just maybe not doing the things that are most important to you, and that could be because you've blocked it, because you have old energies that are restricting you, whatever it might be. So just look at, and you can examine this, and we know that you can do this because you felt it, because you have so many different things happening. Just sit with yourself and say, what is the most important thing I want to do now? And do that, because it builds a momentum of energy that will move you to the next thing, and eventually you'll be doing all of them. We had Roger see something. We want to tell you this, and he questioned this so much. It was a long time ago. He was watching something on Steven Spielberg, your film producer. He was doing so many different things all at the same time. And I just thought, well, how can he do that? There's so many of them. Well, what he did is he got other people to help. You might do that as well if there's certain things like that. But he got other people. When you have those things, if you're a leader and you want to move into all those different directions, then get the correct help. See, this has been Roger's problem. He's terrible at business. He's never cared about money, and now he has to shift that. And so he has to bring in others who can help him accomplish that. So you might be in that position, but just do the thing that gives you the most joy. That's the thing that many of you have talked yourselves out of, is happiness and joy. And the energy of that is what will shift your life, number one, but it will also shift your world. So thank you. And just do everything.
Brilliant. Thank you. Now returning to the previous question, and here's the follow-up. Is the world ready to hear balancing masculine and feminine, or are they more receptive at this time to things like waiting, receiving, feeling, as ways to speak to them about the balancing, again, I guess, masculine doing, thinking, action, etc.? I feel it may be a fear that doesn't want to speak about masculine, feminine so bluntly as a judgment, so I may have answered my own question.
You did. We love that so much. Now you understand what we do. We just stimulate your thinking. You gave us so many chills too. You just sent so much. Yes, that's your mantle. The world needs you now. Yes, speak on this. And this is the thing that happens. Many of you will hold these ideas, and because they're innovative and they're new and they're different, you're supposed to. But then you will think, no one will hear me. No one will understand what I'm talking about. And then you will see that you were absolutely wrong. They are waiting for you to talk about it. They are waiting for you to give them permission to own these aspects of themselves that they have denied for so long. Yes, we love that. That was just brilliant. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for your questions and follow-up questions. Absolutely brilliant. And just to remind you guys, we have another 10 minutes. Please get your questions in. However, we will make sure that every question is answered, so please get them all in now. Next question. Can I change the outcome in my country? How do I trust myself, my rightness?
Because you feel it. You feel this. Oh, thank you again. This is the thing. You each have been implanted with something, and it feels like, and we love using this now, the still small voice. You all have it. It's always there. And then, but you just doubt it. You will make, now, don't, there's another thing here. The difference that you will make will be energetically, okay? You're seeing that you want to make this huge difference. You're trying to figure out how you're going to do that. Just understand that it's energetically, and you start exactly where you are, and you allow that to build, because it will be an example for others. When we gave Roger this work, he's like thinking, oh, wait a minute, I could completely change the world. Now, he knows that's not realistic for him to be able to do that, but he does understand that if he were to give it to more people, they would do that. You're the same way, you see. You're doing the same thing because you have that spark. You had that idea that I know I was placed in that place, in that country, so that I could cause it to become more. And that first has to start with me owning who I am, and it's a process, believing that that little spark that you're feeling, that little still small voice is real. That's doubt that you all move through, which is why we had the doubt on there that giving you that, what if I were right? You are right. So just figure out the way that's going to work for you, and don't make it so large. It doesn't have to be that large right away. It can grow to that, however, if you begin now. And in the first place to begin is developing your self-belief and your self-love, because you were given an important mission. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for your question. Next question. Has this begun to reach the ones who are helping us as we acknowledge the real meanings and they see that struggle?
You will have those who will see, yes. We believe that you are speaking of those who are not feeling awakened, or you don't feel are awakened at this point. You'll never change that. You're not going to fix that. What you can do, because they have free will, they have their own path that they're following. Okay. And sometimes people come in and they have what you call dark energies or any of that. That's serving a purpose as well, because it gets you to awaken to who you are. But what you always have to do is just awaken to who you are and be the example. Now, and because many of you do this, and Roger's the worst at this, and this is why we have to having him change things, because he can see the beauty and wonder in everyone, but you may not want to have that. And we're saying that because we need you to understand it's always in your consciousness. But then he will start to push and try to get them to understand, no, please come back. Please do this. You can't, that never works. You have to first, this is why we like to tell you about remembering to save yourself first. That's like when you're on the airplane or something, or something's going to happen, you put your mask on yourself and then you give it to your kid. That's what you're supposed to do now. But understand that your example is going to be the most powerful thing that you can do in your life. And as the others are seeing more of you come together, there was something that we've talked about, and others, many are saying there's the 144,000 souls on the earth who are doing the work such as Roger did. We believe there are many more than that, and many more are coming on board. And as that happens, then others will see it and they'll begin to shift. But we've said you've got to be patient. You've got to be patient with yourself, and you have to be patient with your world, because you all change so slowly. But the world is accelerating, which is why we're doing this work, because we want you to understand what's occurring. We hope that answered it.
Thank you so much for that. And just a comment that just came into the chat. I feel like I have been placed and led bigger than me, beyond me, even like a greater power is using me. I ask that power to come forth.
Yes. Thank you. We had Roger made a post because we want you all to do this. He says, I'm accepting my angel wings. Yes, you all have them. And that's what you're doing now. And so thank you so much for that comment, because you have been chosen. All of you have been. But it just becomes that awakening time that happens. And sometimes that can be a little frightening too, because you're out of sorts. You're going into that unknown, because again, that's in your consciousness. But you writing that means that you absolutely know. And so thank you for making that comment, because now you have more belief. Because when you make the comment, when you put something into the material world, then it becomes fact. It starts to manifest. And so thank you for you've just made a dramatic shift.
And they say, yes, frightening, but also empowering.
Yes. Absolutely. This is it. And this is what we want you all to understand, that this work, we want you, as you move into these higher dimensions of who you are, it's going to surprise you. You're not going to understand it. It's going to be, what? How is this happening? And that's what you wanted. And this is why we gave you this work, is to get you to that place. So thank you so much for that.
Okay, we have a couple more questions coming in. I have the wanting and passion to bring the healer out in me and be in service in this way. Although I have learned so many modalities, something inside of me distracts me. This has been going on for 20 years. There has to be something holding me back. Fear, they put in brackets. That is not conscious to me. Your input would be much appreciated.
You have a generational disbelief in yourself, and that's what you're moving through. You're given something to bring in, but you have old energies that have been telling you for 20, it's longer than that, actually. It's been going back in your history, where it said, no, you're not the one. No, you can't do this. And that's what's been holding you back. It's a little bit of fear, but it's also this, we don't want you to feel that it's only been that. We are saying that we know that you've taken on something generational, something so old. And we want each of you to understand this, because when you can't move through, or you feel that you can't move some particular issue, it may not be something that you accepted in this lifetime. It may be something that you accepted before you were born and you decided to move through it. And so be patient with yourself, because you will do it. But what we are feeling now, well, no, this is so wonderful. Thank you. You've moved to a whole new place now, because you couldn't have even written that before. You couldn't even acknowledge that. And so now you've moved to a whole new place, because you're acknowledging, yep, doesn't matter. And we're saying this because we've used this person sitting in front of you, we've used Roger, our messenger, as the perfect example. He's 72 years old. He's used his entire life to come to now so that he could bring this forth. You're doing the same thing. So please do not judge yourself for how long it's taken, because you've just made a big movement. We're so pleased that we can't wait to see what you're going to bring, because it's going to be so beneficial, because you've put this years of development into it. It's going to happen now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. Next one. Does individual that has transcended, individuals that have transcended, do their consciousness contribute to the major change? And if they do, how?
Well, you all do, just in different ways. But people who have transcended start to see things in a new way, so they're able to emit a higher level of energy, the energy of light and love and all of that. So they're able to do that, but you're all contributing. It just depends on what level, wherever you are. And the message that we gave you is about how you interpret yourself, depending on the one that we gave you in 2012, actually, was about how you interpret yourself with your current level of awareness, you see. And that always shifts, that always changes, because it always becomes more. And so, so we don't want you to think that they're ascended beings. Like Roger knows that he's ascended to another place, but he knows that he's no better than anyone else. That's his role. And he has to, that the elimination of his ego had to come through for him to be able to bring through this work. And so we don't want you to use a classification thinking that only the ascended matches. This is why when we come through now, part of the agreement that Roger made with us, he didn't want us to have to do something so strange in terms of our voices and all of that, because it disconnects you all from understanding the internal wisdom and knowledge that you all carry. And so when you start thinking, oh, well, these people are more ascended, then you start to make yourself less. You are all ascending, and just whatever level you are is perfect, because it's connected to your beautiful life path. And so, yes, you will start to understand, well, this is good, because you've already moved to an understanding of that, which is why you brought up the question. And so, but you also ascended to another place within yourself, and almost, it was almost like you felt a little guilty somehow that you had kind of understood this. And all the other people, what about them? No, you're going to settle into that. You're going to understand it. And we're so pleased that you brought that to everyone's awareness. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. And our final question of the session: how can I differentiate between my aspirations and what is necessary for me to become? Is it possible that my ideal role in life differs from what I've been dreaming of.
Yes. Yes, because your actual role, because sometimes it's so different. We could go through this for a while because it'll take a while for you to understand this. You will have certain aspirations. Sometimes they come into your physical world because of things you see or you think you admire and all of that. But then something awakens within you that seems completely different than what you had thought before. Because it might have been that you were just looking at the flashy lights on the other thing that you might have had, and then it shifts to the real you, the authentic you, and that feels quite different than where you were before, and that's the shift that you have to make. That's a change you have to begin to make within yourself. Now, we will say that you will know the difference because when you feel good, you're going in that right direction. If you're fighting against it for too long, you might have some other issues going on there. However, you might be, and it feels as if you've uncovered this new direction that's kind of shifted your old reality, which is exactly what's supposed to happen for all of you, especially right now. In this particular eclipse, we want you to understand this is about letting go of the old. It could be your old beliefs, your old ideas about who you thought you were, whatever that was, and now grab the new. That's what they're all meant to do, and that's how you will ascend in your lives, and you will help your world do exactly the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you for that final question, and we are complete with questions.
We thank you all so much for being here, and we want you to understand that you are at this pivotal place in your life, and we want you to take advantage of it and use the energy of this eclipse and this full moon to let go of the old and embrace the new you and love yourselves. Thank you, and we love you so much.
I haven't done anything like this.
It's increased the confidence that I've had in myself.
Everything is better. I mean, every single aspect of my life. My income, the progress is just amazing. Like you can see changes from week to week.
Introducing your last development program, Life Transformation for Success, the newest part of Roger Burnley's coaching series. In this 3-month online program, you will learn the mindset tools you need to dissolve the shame of your past, discover the gifts within you that make you important to the world, and get the confidence to rise above anything that stands between you and the life that you want.
Everything changed in my life. Everything. Every single thing.
It's time for you to reprogram your mind for success and become self-actualized. If you're ready to transform your life too, learn more at yourlastdevelopmentprogram.com today.